Hey, we are live. I'm gonna bring Agnes in here. Or
Hi.
hey, uh, all right, everybody. We got a guest on here. I'm sure you guys all know who she is. Pretty popular. Um, but before we have a little discussion here, I got some news. So, you guys need to tune in Friday, 1 p.m. because I'm gonna have David from Freedom Express Media on here at 1 p.m. It's a little bit off my normal live thing, but because of what he does, it's kind of hard to match up times. So I figured I'll be home all day Friday, so I might as well, eat lunch and do a live. Um, you can find me everywhere. Go to libertylinks.io/ One American No Party. Um, you guys know where I'm at. But I'm gonna let this lady introduce herself in case you guys don't know who she is, but I don't know why you wouldn't.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for the invitation. I'm still amazed that people really want to have an interview with me. This whole like popularity has just came out of nowhere, and people just know me. Um, but I'm Polish Agnes. It's really easy to find me usually on all the freedom rallies. That's what I'm trying to have an input with my camera mostly.
They mostly like it because of the red lipstick.
Well, yeah, today I decided to change it up a little bit because I couldn't find my red one. I don't know where it
She needs a new supply, guys.
is.
Um, So I was always kind of curious with some of the people that were involved with the convoy and with other movements afterwards, like how did you find out about it and how did you figure to get involved with it? Were you streaming before they became a thing or like what kind of made you important, so to speak?
I guess my personality, that's what it was. I really don't know.
Well, there's that. There's that.
Of course, everyone has watched Ottawa, right? Everyone. I think that it was like so out there in the world that everyone would just get inspired by it. But I actually talked to someone not too long time ago because everyone just thought that I brought the camera and I was just there for the camera, and that is absolutely not true. um, so I'm a trucker's daughter, first of all, right? And
Okay.
I kind of grew up around that environment my whole entire life. So the minute I discovered Ottawa, of course, actually my dad told me about it. It goes like, oh my god, Canada is finally started, someone finally started something. Honestly, I was ready to protest all these mandates and all these V thing and whatever a year prior convoy starting in America. I was anxious to be like, there's no way that people are gonna actually let this whole entire government take over like this. So the minute I found out after Ottawa, we're organizing the convoy because I already started looking for it during Ottawa. I was like, we have to do something. And then surely I found it and I was like, I'm going, Although just I wasn't going to start from California, I'm not able to take that much time off for work. But I drove to Hagerstown and I just wanted to be like these people in Ottawa. I'm just like, I'm just going to live stream. But before I started this, I have raised $1,500 amongst my friends here. And I went to Costco and other stores wearing a fuck Biden cape, a flag, and I was shopping for truckers because I thought at the time it was
Okay.
going to be truckers. So I brought, a car full of food to the food drive when they did for the People's Convoy. So that was my first thing. Then I ordered gas cans, and anything that I thought I'm gonna need while I'm gonna be there in the DC, because everyone was kind of under the impression that we're doing the Ottawa style. I was ready. I had my truck, I had everything in there, and I'm like, I'm parking. So I got to the Hagerstown, and surely I found out that this is not what we're doing. So I just kept on participating and driving the Beltway. So I did the Beltway a few times with a couple different truckers, and then I did the Beltway myself in my own car, and then I did the Beltway with a couple other people that were my guests. So it was fun. It was definitely a participation for me first, and the camera was just there only for an audition, you know. And I think everyone got pissed off at me because I got this greatest idea of spreading the word all around the world with our live streaming. So I made the streamers better, and with all the people that were streaming names, and I just put it out there, and I was like, guys, take a picture, send it out there, you know, spread the word. And I think people hated me because of that, you know, because they were like few mainstreamers, and then all of a sudden you have this other 15 people that people are subscribing and watching. So I think I don't think they like me very much because of that. But yeah, that's the story. And I was there to
I mean,
participate.
you you probably had some haters, but
Oh,
overall, you know, we're all gonna have haters. I mean, they just they naturally kind of come out of the woodworks when we fight for freedom, you know, and start covering stuff that you know that they don't like.
yeah,
And
it's
the
okay
fact
though.
that
You
you
know,
were,
it's not like you're gonna please everybody, you know. And this was not for me to make money. I didn't start the camera to be making money or anything like that. I just wanted to kind of have my own memories, you know. And if this was gonna turn history, I needed to have it documented for my kids, for my parents, for like, yeah, all my friends. I came with the camera. I begged some of my friends to subscribe to my channel because I was actually grandfathered in and I could stream with 50 subscribers. So I came
oh, no
in,
kidding,
yeah, I came into Hagerstown with 50 subscribers in my channel.
on YouTube or on Rumble?
On YouTube. I just had YouTube.
On
I
YouTube.
strictly was live streaming from YouTube app, you know, not like nothing fancy. I didn't know half the thing. I didn't know what moderators are. I was like, what do you mean you need a moderator? Like, do you like pay these people, you know, to hang out in your channel? Like, how is it gonna be? Like,
We'll pay them in cookies.
yeah, like how, I mean, like how am I just gonna ask someone to sit there hours and hours and hours and like donate their time in the chat? I was like, damn. And so some people were like, I'll be your moderator, I'll be your moderator. I was like, whoa, hold on. Like I need to have a trust first. So I only first had my dad was my moderator. That was my first moderator. And my dad is like, there's 1,000 people here. There's no way I can read all of this by myself. So yeah, it was fun.
See, that's kind of how I started out. I was taking videos and posting them on my social media, but after like halfway across, I had to figure out how to like live stream it just to save the footage because I didn't have any room on my phone to even take more videos to post
Mm,
more up there.
yeah.
Um, and that's when
Yeah,
I found out.
I have never posted a single video before the whole entire thing started. The first video that I posted was about the stuff that I actually bought for the, you know, for the whole entire experience, you know, for the truckers. And I was like, I'm raising money. If you want to give me money, you can give me money. If you trust me, I'll go buy food and I'll document it. So those
Right.
were
Yeah.
my three videos that I uploaded there. That's it. So I'm a newbie, like totally. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yep. Well, you might be a newbie, but you're genuine, and I think that's what people. I think that's why people like you because you're genuine. Uh, Being genuine and real and honest, I think is the new way to go.
Is it? Is that a
Because
new way to go? I don't think that's the new way to go. It didn't bring me really far, honestly. It's a
well,
strange world.
to me, it's the new way to go because people like reality versus what we see in the media.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh, okay.
I've seen a
Well,
lot of people that were like, you know, I don't even watch media anymore because they're just all fake. Um, and here, you know, you're real. You show them exactly what they want to see or what they should see because you're showing everything. Um, and they know you're not going to cut stuff up and make a false image out of something, and you know, being
no.
genuine.
I still pick and choose what I want to show my camera. So it's not like I'm gonna run into things and be like, oh, yeah, my camera has to see this. You know, people got to see this. You know, and stuff like that.
Well,
So
yeah, yeah, stuff like that. You know, drama sometimes. You
no,
know,
there's not going to be any drama in my camera. There's not going to be any time I'm giving to any of these people that want to create whatever that they're out there, and if I don't agree with you to the point that I don't want to give the time, to even discover or talk to you, like my camera is not going to be there. It's just not. And this is why I dropped it, and did DC. I was like, not giving you my views, not giving you my time, I'm not giving you my camera. My camera is not gonna go there because my camera is not all about that. My camera is all about fixing things. My camera is all about changing a little bit the reality of this country,
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way it was for me this weekend, or this past week was whenever certain characters showed up, I just shut it off. It's not worth it.
yeah, no. I'm not doing this with them. Listen, I don't think I deserved any of their problems, let's say, because everyone who knows me and have always or ever been watching me, they know what I'm all about, so I'm just there to support a certain movements and people who are trying to do something for this country. If I feel like they don't and they don't serve the purpose for me anymore, and I feel like they're not for freedom, I'm just gonna walk away from it. So I don't feel like I deserved, my name being thrown, in the middle of the DC and, some strange things, being shouted out there. So I'm like, no, I'm
But
not giving you the time of the day. Thank you very much.
yeah,
Do this.
and that's the way I looked at it. I'm not going to use my small platform to give them more coverage. I
No.
was there for something that obviously people didn't understand what I was there for, but um because I don't want it to turn into freaking following drama 24/7 because that's not what I'm based off of. I'm based off of showing you what the reality is and having people on like this discussing topics of the day, what's important, what's not important, your opinions of this, opinions of that, coming out with solutions kind of like, like our forefathers did. Um, there was I was watching Tim Pool a while back and they had this little funny moment in their show where they had imagined that well, maybe the founding fathers didn't really have a great dream. Maybe they just all got drunk and they were mad at the king and they said, "You know what? I'm gonna write that king a letter and I'm gonna tell him that he can shove it where the sun don't shine." And then when he was drunk, he went and wrote the letter and mailed it. Then they got a reply back from the king. They're like, "Oh crap, did you actually mail that?" But them discussing things is what got to where we're at now.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you may be right. Alcohol, back in the day it was really popular. So yeah, who
Like
knows?
medicine too.
Who knows
Like
how
medicine
they
too.
actually came up with all these ideas. But here we are,
Um,
based on that, really, honestly.
we haven't announced this yet. For you guys that are on YouTube, I'm taking questions from Rumble, like I normally do with panels. I gotta say hi to a few people. We got JJ, Savage Bear, we got Larcy, Hope. Mags is in here. Hey Mags.
Hmm.
Um, you know who Mags is, right? Very important fella.
No, I don't know.
Mhm.
I should know.
Um, he was down there with 1776 for a while.
Oh, Mag Americans.
Yeah. I call
Oh
him
yeah, of
Mags.
course I know. Jesus.
So if you guys do have any questions, come on over to Rumble.
How
Also,
would
I'm
I
gonna
ever?
repeat. I am having um David from Freedom Express Media on Friday
Oh, nice.
at 1 p.m. Eastern. So you guys can tune in for that on Friday. Um, man, there's so many questions I wanted to ask you, and I went blank. I guess I had a long enough day. Been up for a while.
Well, in the meantime, when you're thinking, can I just promote something real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Go
for
ahead.
it's for the good cause. So I just came out with the bear lady that does all these crazy, sweet and cute and adorable bears. We just came out with a website That
Okay.
address is patriotbears.com. And we are running this site for the donations, and in exchange of a donation you will get a bear. So there are couple levels of the different bears, let's say, and every month we are going to pick a cause where we want to, put the money into. Although we're not going to be sending anybody money, we'll just be purchasing the necessities that they really need. And the month of the October, we decided that we're going to be helping Florida. So we have Wyckoffs, and maybe if you would like to do an interview with them, I think that could be really interesting because they are running all over the Florida, helping people, buying stuff for people, giving them, a helping hand with a lot of stuff after the hurricane. So
I would love to have him on. I do not have his contact information. I'm slowly
yeah,
getting some contact information.
I can contact you, because I'm long overdue actually to do an interview with him because we're all always busy. So, and
Yeah.
I'm always traveling, like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then probably Monday I'm coming back. So, like 3, 4 days, I'm totally out of the equation. But now we came out with this website that will be helping either rallies. There are going to be freedom rallies up until the presidential election, I'm thinking. So whoever is going to get that bear, all this money is going to go towards the necessities that people need for the freedom rallies or natural disasters. We decided because we've been inspired by this whole Florida thing. And if any of you guys have watched what's going on down there, for me, it's down there. It's been pretty tough for everyone who lost their houses, and I can't imagine going through through disaster like this and basically lose everything. So we will be helping them and purchasing whatever goods we need from Amazon. And there's a hub in Florida right next to Wyckoff, so he can just pick this up. So if anyone
Yeah, let
wants
him
the
know.
bear,
Let him know. I gladly have him on.
yeah, sure.
Um, Shit, you should have said something. I could have had him on with you.
You know what? You can always invite me again, no?
I can always, yeah, that's a good solution. That's a very good solution. I like that.
It's a content, remember?
Um, Somebody said Polish is reminding me of Minnie,
Yeah,
probably
because
because of the bow on top. Yeah.
well, I mean, so listen, after this whole entire weekend that just happened, um, before I didn't really have the chance to kind of go head and head with the counter or whatever. And it was just so funny to read their chat. I'm actually going to do a panel. I actually got a strike. I couldn't stream. I only could stream on Thursday. And then Friday,
Really?
Saturday, Sunday, I couldn't stream. Anyways, I think YouTube has
What did you
saved
get
me.
a
They're
strike
like, nah.
over?
But listen, I went into their chat, right? Oh my God, the amount of things that people talk about you is just incredible, And I screenshotted most of it, and it's just so funny. I sat there and laughed my ass off. And then someone had said to me, Agnes is not patriotic. Agnes needs to go back to her own country. Agnes doesn't even know her own country history. Agnes needs a citizenship. Agnes needs to get married, and stuff like that. I was laughing my ass off. I just want to ask, how do we determine that someone is patriotic or not, or a patriot? Like, how are we going to determine, oh, you are, but you're not? Like who we are to actually judge someone on that. Isn't that what we have in our hearts that makes us a patriot? And
Yep,
if we want it
exactly.
good for this country, is that what makes us patriot? And especially if there was going to be a war, you're going to be the first one who's going to show up there. Like, how are we determined? And how can you say Agnes is not a patriot? Can you say that about me?
Well, from what I've seen, you're more of a patriot than most people. because you were out and present for three different events. One was TPC, one was uh 1776, one was 10-4 DC. You were out there for all three of them,
No, I was
and you
even. That's not even all. I went to
no, that's
Canadian
not even
border
all of
three
it.
times for the rally, and I did few other rallies as well. So it's not just
Yeah.
these couple events. It's been plenty of events that I have attended, and tried to make a change and participated in a convoy. And, now I'm on this Can We Trust the United States Post Office? I'm sending money through the post office to myself from different places to see if we can trust them with the ballots, type of thing. And
Doing your own survey kind of deal.
yes, I mean, I think it's interesting. I'm going to end up sending $500 in an envelope. It's going to be my last number. So we'll see if it's going to come back to me. Now I'm on 20, actually. So I'm going to build, and it's going to be 50, 100, 200, 300, 400, and 500. So we'll see. We'll
Podcast to
see.
see how far it gets, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, if you don't trust United States Post Office to send yourself, to put it in a mailbox and send $500, then we have a question mark here if we really should have mail-in ballots.
Well, and honestly, your vote is worth more than 500.
Oh
Your
yeah.
vote is priceless. So yeah, I see the comparison there. Obviously, um, I think it's a good test too because I was telling I forget who I was talking to yesterday. God, I've had a long day.
Mm-hmm.
Talking to somebody yesterday, and I was telling them about how in 2020, the I think it was before the election, there was a massive union. I'll forget the name of them, but they had said how it was completely secure to have ballot, the massive mail-in ballots. And then when after the 2020 election, the union had their own election for electing their leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, well, how are we going to do this? And somebody suggested, well, why don't we do mail-in ballots? Like, oh, no, 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 that's not safe.
Yeah.
So if it's safe for one, it's safe for the other, right? I mean, you would think.
I don't think anything is safe nowadays. I don't think if we do anything electronically, it's even going to be worse. I don't think sending it's easy, to manipulate, let's say. I think the only way how you're going to gain control is vote in person and hand counted ballots, you know? And
I already put in my notice to the company and said make sure I'm home on that day and not just part of that day, the entire day. Because
yeah,
I want to make sure that I make it that day and I'm going to be there on that day, not the day before, not a day after, on that day to actually vote. And
yeah.
it's my
Well,
first time voting in a new state because I moved there legally.
yeah, yeah. Well, so now I ran into a little bit of a problem there. I was gonna put a notice to be a poll watcher, actually, but I'm gonna have to do the absentee ballot because they're having this huge rally in Branson that I'm thinking to go to. So I'm like, well, this is gonna manipulate, me needing to vote because that whole entire rally, it's veterans type of thing for freedom, and it runs a whole entire week. So I have to fly there. It's way too far for me to drive. So I'm not gonna be, in my town for voting, which is making me. I just talked about voting in person and voting in general and ballots, and I'm doing all of this. And when we come to find out, poor Agnes is not going to be there on the day, And I'm like,
Well,
so
that's kind of, I think, is that the one Mona's having?
yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I was trying to tell her she should change it because it really
I did
conflicts.
too.
Like
I did too.
it'll restrict how many people can show up because of it being within a couple days of needing to go vote. And I was like, I'd like to go, but with me going in my truck, it's gonna cost me probably more than $1,000 to get out there and back with my
Okay.
truck, and then maybe not even making it to vote. So I was like, man, you got to move it, Mona. You got to move it. and
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
don't
going to
know
stick.
why she decided doing that. I mean, I don't know how the absentee ballot really works. I have to research and find out if I can do it before the weekend.
Well,
Because if I'm gonna fly,
check and see if you have early voting. The last election I had to vote early, but it was voting early but present.
yeah,
Like it was like voting day but early. We voted at the courthouse. I think it was voting early. So
yeah.
check with that. That would still be better than having to mail one in.
Oh no, no,
But
no, no! I'm not doing that.
absentee
Mm-mm. I'm not
like
gonna go the
absentee
route.
ballots are actually better than the mail-in ballots because the absentee ballots you have to request. The
Yes,
mail-in ballots they just massively mail them out, and you like I talked to one today. Like he saw my truck, man. It's like an Irish guy. He got real upbeat about my truck and everything. He starts talking about the election and
yeah.
how his friend received 5 ballots in the last election.
My
5.
one of my girlfriends had the same thing, 5, and we took a picture of it, and I had it saved on my phone. 5 of them she received.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Yeah. And somebody will send all 5 of them in too. Because
So
they think,
so
well, since
here's
they
my
sent it to me,
question.
then
So does anyone actually uh counts them? Meaning how many of these ballots are going into people and how many of them is coming back? They will
I
send,
don't
for
know.
example, 5,000 ballots, right? But if less comes back, well, then that's fine. Some, I don't know, didn't send it out, some get lost. But if you send out 5,000 and 10,000 is coming back, you know I mean,
I mean,
I
I'm a
think,
big proponent, and I would actually, I might see if I can actually start a freaking organization that pushes for it. But I want to try to push for a national holiday for
yeah,
voting day.
yeah,
Like we have quite a few what I call ridiculous holidays that are just
yes,
absolutely ridiculous.
I
Why
know,
can't we have election day as a holiday
yeah,
and get rid of some of the other BS ones?
yeah, I
Because
know,
I'm
I
a big
agree.
I'm a big supporter of just on that day you vote, and at the end of the day, that's the end of the counting. You know,
Yes.
but
Well, I don't know, 10 o'clock close or 8 o'clock close. I don't know, maybe 10 because who knows. But yeah, I think everything should be closed. That's it. No McDonald's, no Wendy's, no like freaking mall, no nothing. Everyone just sits home that day. Go and vote. But they're never going to do this. They're just never going to do this.
yeah.
There's no way that we have. No. I actually debated
You-
one of my clients today, because they're like full blown Democrats, and they put all these signs now in their yard because the election is coming, and their representatives and all that, and they had this website, right? Something about the choice, like put like the sign they put it in a window, and I'm just cleaning their house, and I already knew a long time ago what political party they were because I asked them if they actually think if election was honest, and they were like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, So I asked them, the a whole entire website was vote Democrat, and they will give you the choice of abortion, right? So every woman should have a choice to, do whatever she wants with her body, right? And these people I know were like first in the line to get the vax. And I'm like, so how are you guys pro-choice when it comes to your body and a woman's body, but you're not pro-choice? I have never heard you talking about, avoiding the vax. I said, you're perfectly fine with thousands of people being out of work, right? Because you have to be, and I cannot have a choice, right? And I said, listen, just the Tylenol, right, has ties now to like bad pregnancies. Now they tell you not to take it and whatnot because it causes certain issues, and I'm not gonna say because of YouTube. And I say, I supposed to have the choice if I should take out the pregnancy or not, but I should not have the choice when it comes to vax. I said, how does that work for you guys? And she looks at me and she's like, well, that's different. You know, this was a national pandemic. I said, yeah, but choice is a choice. I said, if you guys are pro-choice, you have to be pro-choice everything, not just one thing. And she
Well,
just looked at me, well, Agnes, that's not how it works. I was like, that's exactly how it works. I
yeah.
said, that's exactly
Um,
how it works. You know, and I told her, listen, so you're telling me if my pregnancy is going to be messed up because of this vax, right? Of this job, then you're fighting for me so I can take it out, right? And she just looked at me, was like, I was like, that's what I thought, you know, and I'm not gonna be surprised if I'm gonna lose this house too, you know, and that's my weekly house. But I just couldn't hold myself. Like, how the hell are you gonna, be like, oh, we pro-choice, like every woman has a choice to decide about their body, So you're gonna give me just this one choice, but the rest of the choices about my body is not gonna be my choice.
yeah. Well,
Come
like
on.
the one thing I like to point out is the idea that their whole phrase of it's my body and my choice.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, what they're doing if they have an abortion has nothing to do with their body. It has to do with another living human being's body.
Yeah.
So it's not really, it's like my baby's body, my choice, not my body, my choice. This, like, whether you take the Fauci ouchie or not, is the actual real meaning of my body, my choice. Yeah. Like, it makes no sense. Then they get mad at us for using it because we're actually using it in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. It's just like,
I had a trucker yelling at me for having that because he saw it on the side of my truck. I had a trucker yelling at me for having that on the side of my truck because he said it was bad to kill babies. I'm like, did you not read? Did you not read what was actually in there? And the ending, rather than getting off his high horse, the ending of his rant was the fact that the left uses that and we can't use it. I'm like, no, no, no. They don't own anything. They don't own those words. They don't use it in the right way, so they don't own it.
yeah, no. It's definitely they're definitely messed up about this whole choice thing, Well, you have the choice one way, but you don't have a choice the other way. So if you
Yep.
ask me if we're talking about the choice, I'm gonna give everybody their choice. That's fine. We can have abortions. You want to have that choice? Fine. Okay, have that choice. My choice wouldn't ever be, trying to, do that stuff. That would be my choice then. You have what you want to have your choice, fine. You have your choice. But then if I'm giving you this choice, I should have mine when it comes to what kind of a treatment am I getting. So that means if I'm in a hospital, today with the C, I need to have a say what kind of a treatment I'm getting. That's my choice. The choice is about what kind of vax I'm getting. Is it a flu? Is it a freaking C? Is it or anything else? That's my choice. And if I don't want to have my kids vaccinated, that is also my choice that I'm making for my kids. And that's all been like literally taken away. So now the only way of you not having kids vaccinated is actually having them homeschooled, which is terrible, if you ask me, because I think kids should go to school. I think kids should have the opportunity to be amongst the other kids, right? It's just that now the question mark is what these schools are doing with our kids. So whichever way you turn, it's bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, and to me, sometimes I don't know if we can even reason with them anymore. They're just so absurd. Like, how do you build the bridge between the one side and the other? The one saying it's okay to kill babies, and the other side says it's not okay to kill babies. How do you build that bridge? I mean, there is no middle ground on that.
It's not
But
okay,
I think the
and I
Supreme
think,
Court, well, I think the Supreme Court made headways on that by putting it back to the states. They didn't make it illegal. They just brought it back to the states where it should be, right? And apparently that's not good enough.
well, I'm not a fan of the system how it works here, because we will never unite if every single state has some kind of a different laws. There's no way that Texas is standing up for Connecticut and Connecticut is standing up for Texas. There's just no way that we're going to ever agree on one law all together because it's not federal. You have to fight your state first. So you have to put up with the fight first, go through your state, right? And every 50 states have to do that to come back, right, to the federal thing. How are we going to be able to ever do that? How?
Oh, but should it be a federal thing? Like the only thing that should be federal would be our Constitution, right? Then
Yeah.
how each state defines that would be different. Um, like with the marijuana laws they have, we got I don't know how many states we have now that have it as yeah, recreational use is legal.
Yeah.
Um, but now federally it's not. Um, honestly, I don't think the federal government should have a say so in whether or not you smoke a little marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I just think it's overstepping the boundaries of what the federal government was supposed to be. Now, one thing I don't like is how you were saying Texas is not going to look out for like Connecticut is when we have the federal government giving out money to states to get them out of debt for their
Mm-hmm.
own decisions. So like Texas isn't going to look out for Connecticut, but Texas would be paying for Connecticut's debts. But Texas cannot vote for those in Connecticut.
Yeah, right. But you know how it was that, we all needed to come together for the convoy, right? So just because we have different laws in different states and everything works differently, that's why we can't ever come together on one thing. That's how I feel. If we didn't have the laws in states and every state would have been different, because I come from the system when we really actually don't have that. It's a lot easier to organize when you just have to go to the federal and fight them. Everyone just not is looking at what Connecticut says, what the law in Connecticut is about the guns, what the law about guns is in the Texas. Texas is doing fine, like, listen, everyone can have guns. Tennessee is doing fine, and for example, some other state isn't. The rest of the states don't care because they're fine. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, standing up for one issue is going to be a big problem because these issues are different from state to state to state, and motivating people into standing up and doing something is going to be a lot harder because they're going to be like, well, this is not going on in my state, so why I got to do this?
Well, that's why they have the U.S. Congress and U.S. Senate is for, well, Senate was supposed to be the representative for the state itself, and the House of Representatives was supposed to be the representative for me and you. But they changed that like back in 1913, which I think kind of screwed a lot of things up.
Yeah.
Because the U.S. Senate representing the state is what would help with the federal laws, like you're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, but they kind of took that away from the state. You know, now saying the
Mm-hmm.
Senate's supposed to represent us, they're not supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know there's a lot of stuff that the states, like, in order to be a state, they had to sign and agree to the Constitution. But in some areas, they actually break the Constitution because they make certain laws, and the federal government doesn't do anything about it because they like the way they're going with it.
Oh yeah, totally.
For me, I think it's somebody needs to get their hand slapped because they're breaking the Constitution by the certain laws they have.
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Well, no one challenged it, and like I said, it's a problem because depending on what state, what it is for the laws, it's going to be harder and harder to, for example, get a petition out there to get it out. Because some people are like, well, it's okay in my state. And then so maybe you have a couple other states that are really bad, and who's going to fight for those two states? you know just a petition. And then also we have to understand that once we have that emergency power act, we're never going to be able to achieve anything with the
Mhm.
government. And no one
That is a
understands
big
that we
problem.
can we can endlessly talk about it. We can do the rallies, the convoys, the petitions and whatnot, if we're not going to try to get rid of this Emergency Power Act, we're screwed. And I think our only chance, it's not even going to be this November, because even though if we're going to vote red, the Emergency Power Act is still going to be intact. We need a whole another president to help us and take this shit down. So, I mean, I think we're on to something, this November, but with the Emergency Power Act, they're just going to be doing whatever they want with us, and they keep on like taking the rights away from us because, because they use the sea for that exact particular reason, to put more law on us and fuck with the Constitution.
Yeah.
And that's what everyone needs to do. And people don't even understand what's the Emergency Power Act all about. They don't care. They will be sitting there and talking about the issues. Yeah, the issues are one thing. You need to get rid of the Emergency Power Act. And this was, the whole entire convoy had that message. And people who joined the convoy didn't even know what the Emergency Power Act is all about.
I had to look it up because I didn't know it was still in. I thought it had been taken out, because I thought it was only in for like I think it was only I thought it was only renewed like twice. And then when
No, that's the
COVID
problem.
started kind of decreasing, I thought it was taken out. But then
Yeah.
when the convoy started, when they were talking about starting, I was like, what exactly are we going to go to DC to protest? Because if you remember, right before they started, the Supreme Court knocked down Biden's mask
Yeah.
mandate, like federally.
Yeah.
So I said, well, we can't really go protest that because that's not in existence.
Yeah.
And somebody had said something about the Emergency Powers Act. So I did a little research. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I didn't know it was still in there. Hell yeah, I'll get behind that because that's BS.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably when the convoy was in existence, was probably when a lot of other people realized it was still in place.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it like I remember one state I was looking up in 2020 when they all came out with the mandates, and the governors were like just running free with all the mandates they were doing. And I want to say it was Oregon had said the governor can only renew that mandate. I think it was once, and it's only good for 45 days before the state assembly has to come together and put it into law in order for it to stick. Well, they never, if you remember right, they weren't in session for almost the entire year of 2020.
Yeah.
So it went to the Supreme Court and the state Supreme Court, and the state Supreme Court's like, nah, big deal. Even though in their own constitution, it said he couldn't do that. He's
Yeah.
like, nah, it's for the greater good.
Yeah.
I mean, what? I'm like, what the hell? Why do we agree to it and swear to uphold the Constitution if we're not gonna, actually do what we say we're gonna do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like, whenever I say that it's still intact and we need to get rid of it, I get, but what is it? What really is it? What do you mean Emergency Power Act? Like, that's just the normal people that, I'm talking, you know, whenever I go, for example, and, I meet someone in the store, or I meet someone here and there, or even when I'm explaining to people in the DC that we had a convoy, and they're like, there was a convoy? American? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, there was one in Ottawa, and there was one in America too. Yeah. There was most of the people that I talked, on Thursday in the DC. They zero, nothing. And it was the funniest thing, someone was passing your truck and you have that Canada sign there, oh, this truck could have been in Ottawa. Maybe it was in Ottawa. I was like, maybe it was at some point, Did you guys know that we had a truckers convoy? No, a truckers protest in the United States? They were like, no. I was like, it's just terrible,
Yeah,
The TV is not going to tell you. People just not going to know.
I blame I'm because a lot of people want to blame the media for that, and I don't. Not the media as a whole. You want to know who I do blame for people not knowing about it? I blame the conservative media, like
Yeah.
the conservative podcasters, like Joe
Mm-hmm.
Rogan. He's not really conservative, but he leans conservative. He doesn't admit to it, but you can tell. People like Dan Bongino, people like
Yes. Yes.
who was the other one? Dang it, he's on with the Blaze. Steven Crowder. You
Mm-hmm.
got Officer what's that black guy? Officer out of Arizona.
Don't ask
Officer
me.
Tatum. They all had massive platforms. They all were
Yeah.
kind of really talking about the Canadian convoy, like day in and day out almost. I know Tim
And
Pool
no
was with the
one.
convoy, not himself, but his organization was with the convoy, so I can give him credit for that. Um, but like Bongino, he was basically before we had a convoy, he was begging for us to have a convoy. He said we need something like that.
Yeah.
You know how much coverage he gave it when we actually had a convoy? About 3 seconds
Uh-huh.
at the end of his show.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I blame it on people like that.
Yes.
That was the reason why we didn't grow even more than we were.
Yeah.
Because he's got a platform of 2.5 to 5 million people, plus his
Yeah.
radio show.
Yeah.
Imagine how massive it would have gotten, but
Oh
he
yeah.
didn't cover it. So I blame him. My
Oh yeah.
goal is to be his competition
Mm-hmm.
because he's useless to me. I quit list. I actually unsubbed him. I was pissed.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah.
3 seconds. Really, you begged for it. You begged for it almost on a daily basis, and
And he
now you
never
just won't
showed
care.
up with his camera also, like to see what's going on, Like all these people just never showed up. That's
Yeah.
what is the most, and then it makes you really think, why? Are they all like paid off type of thing? Were they paid
Well,
off not to come and not to do anything, were they like,
I have an idea if you want to hear it.
yeah,
So here's my idea about why. Now, you remember the timeline. Soon after, like the day after the convoy started, we started hearing about Russia and Ukraine, like day in and day out. That's all
oh
we heard. Every
yeah,
news article you pulled up. And if you really think about it, most of these conservative podcaster types, the only thing that they're generally talking about on their daily, whatever you want to call it, is basically talking about what the mainstream media is talking about. So if the mainstream media is talking about Russia, Ukraine,
they follow.
excuse me, they're talking about the same exact
Yeah,
subject,
oh yeah,
but they're like on the defensive side of it. So they're
yes,
always on the defense of what the mainstream media is talking about. I think that's kind of part of it. They saw that that was what sells,
yeah,
so that's what they're going to talk about.
yeah.
Rather than the conservative side of podcasts and whatever shows you want to call them, rather than them taking the lead in what's being discussed, make the media actually talk about what they're talking about, put them on the defensive. We can actually get somewhere. But I think that probably it might have been money, but I think it was in the form of it gave them more clicks.
Honestly, I'm just surprised that after the Ottawa convoy has happened, I was online. Where is my American convoy? Right? I found it myself. I knew there was the America needed to follow. I just knew it. I felt it in my heart, and I was like, someone is gonna start something, or I'm gonna start something. you know and so they did, and that's how I found it, and I knew that the only information about it is going to be online. And I don't understand how people didn't really figure it out on their own to find it on their own right after the Canada convoy started. And I remember they were talking about the Super Bowl. I'm like, let's go, people. That's our chance. You have to inconvenience someone enough, and they will start paying attention to you, because if you're not going to inconvenience anyone, they're just not going to care. That's how I
Well,
feel.
I'm going to quote, it was either Tim Pool or somebody he had on his show. And I think they're right. Somebody, they were talking about, well, there's going to be food shortages. There was somebody on his show, I forget their name. I
Yeah,
should remember their name because that was pretty good what they said. But he said, quote, some food shortages, expected food shortages.
yeah,
And his guest goes, good. He's like, what? What do you mean good? She goes, well, if people aren't fat and happy, they'll stand up and start realizing what's going on.
Yeah.
When they start losing
Oh
their
yeah.
food and their ability to get gas to go to their happy events, they'll
Yeah.
start paying attention to what's going on. And he's like, well, I guess maybe you're right. Bring it. And
I
I think,
actually went and bought tons of stuff when I knew the convo was gonna start it. I was like, okay, Agnes, let's go to the store, get some meat. So I bought tons of meat. Toilet paper, of course, right? I
you
actually
got to
went
buy
back
toilet paper,
twice.
right?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to like run out with the toilet paper because I thought honestly we're gonna have a lot more people that are going to join. And at first it was supposed to be a truckers convoy, and then they turned it out into a people's convoy, which I was like, oh, this is awesome. But even if it was only truckers convoy, I would still be there, and it wouldn't matter. The name wouldn't matter to me. I think we really needed more truckers and more companies, joining that whole entire spiel to make a difference. Just a
Hmm.
handful of truckers that have joined, they were not able to make a difference, and actually, shortage didn't really happen, which I was hoping it would, because that's the inconvenience that we really
Well,
needed
it's
for
all a
people
matter.
to
It's
understand.
all a matter of what's important to people, because
Yeah.
I don't know how many countless people because that was back when I was on TikTok or Commie Talk, what you call it, and I was seeing people on there that was complaining about, oh, we can't do that because we just need to vote. And I'm like, okay, so you're one of the those that I call useless because you don't even realize that a lot of the stuff happens in between the times that you vote. And when you do vote somebody in, 9 times out of 10, they don't even care what you think. They just do what they want.
Yeah.
Case in point, Liz Cheney. So, like, we got to do something more than just vote. We, as conservatives, usually are the ones that have jobs, which means we don't get to go out there and be protesting every weekend or every week or whatever. But it's about time we start doing it because
Yeah.
in between election cycles is when we need to make sure our voices are loud because we need to make sure they realize that we're watching them. And they're
Hmm.
like, wow, well, we'll just shut down. Like, you're not even going to do that. You just mentioned on the previous video that you need to make money. You're going to make, and I've had guys outright just brag and be like, oh, when you guys are all doing that, I'm going to make tons of money because the freight rate's going to go up because nobody's hauling freight. So I'm going to make a lot of money. I'm like, you're a useless piece of crap.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
call me when the shooting starts. Yeah, just you're the last person I'll call.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's always a lot of people who are going to take the opportunity, right, when it strikes. But if we really focused, few people like that wouldn't really make a big of a difference, because the minute the food, wipes out from all the shelves, I mean, Americans are done. There's not really even enough farmers to feed anybody, honestly, and no one grows anything here. Like, a lot of people have homes, but they don't grow anything, so
Right.
it's just, but I don't think we're gonna get there. I don't think people really do understand what's going on right now, and they just literally want to lay low and see what happens with the next president. I think that's what it is, and they're just like, okay, 2 more years, 2 more years, like we're gonna be out of this. But I don't know in 2 more years if we're gonna get the same guy or at least the same party. I don't know. I don't know what is gonna happen. I think
Yeah,
like
it's real iffy because the
major.
more we put pressure on,
Yeah.
the more pressure that's going to be there, and it's going to be very
Yeah.
dangerous almost because the more you take away from them, the more they scream. Um, damn it, someone was going to say, oh, somebody brought because I was all in favor of everybody shutting down, with the truckers go on strike, shut down, make people suffer, kind of deal.
Yeah.
I had somebody bring it to my attention. They're like, I don't agree with that. I said, why not? So, well, look at it this way. We're trying to wake people up to get pissed off at our government, right?
Mhm.
Because if we all shut down and we make them go hungry, who are they going to be pissed off at?
Yeah.
Not the government. It's going to be us. But they're generally pissed off at us anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not really going to be beneficial because we're just going to make them mad at us.
Yeah.
So we like the only way that could possibly get people to wake up, but also make it a little bit uncomfortable for them would be a convoy because they would
Hmm.
physically see that. And I know a couple years ago, there was a small strike started in Florida and it was starting to gain traction. I was actually getting ready to head down there myself, but
Hmm.
they started getting violent, like parking in the intersection, fighting cops. I said, nah. And it petered out because of it.
Hmm.
Um, truckers gonna be truckers. They never get together.
Yeah, I don't think the convoy really worked. I don't think people really cared too much, honestly, you know. Those like 3 weeks, actually only 2 weeks, honestly, because the third week in Hagerstown was a mess. You know, they didn't even organize one single convoy. It was everything unorganized. Do what you want to do, you know, go whatever you want, type of thing. So they only did it for like 2 weeks. And then they didn't do it on a weekend. And it's raining, and it's snowing, and it's Sunday, and it's laundry day, you know, type of thing. And I remember I was disappointed a lot of times, you know, that I was ready, you know, to go on a convoy, and it's like, oh, we're not going, you know. So I'm like, all right, well, the trucks are not going, so just take the regular cars, you know. And they wouldn't. Oh, it's raining, we're not going to do anything. So it kind of was like they wanted to do something, but they were trying to get away from doing something, you know. And that's how I felt. And the last week was a total mess, you know. That I stayed 10 days straight, you know, and that counted the last week of it. um, and Sunday was the Dr. Malone I left on Sunday because they said they were leaving Tuesday to California, you know. They finally didn't leave on Tuesday, they left on Thursday. So the last week was like everyone did whatever they want. Some of the people already went home, you know, the lot was clearing up. And I just, and I don't know. I would have been okay not to really take that time off because I didn't feel like I was doing anything that last week, you know.
I know some people have asked me if I knew how it was going to end, if I would have joined.
Yeah.
I said, well, that depends. Would I also know what I would have experienced in between? You know, but my basic thing was I like, because I've been driving for a little over 12 years. And within the first 2 years of driving, this is something I wanted to do because I knew there was a problem. And I
Hmm.
saw the opportunity, and it was nothing going to hold me back. Like the day I found a video of Mike Landis saying, we're going to have a convoy. It's going to come out of California somewhere, going to go to DC. It was like a month before the convoy even took off. I told my wife, I said, I'm going. We're going to run as much as I can,
Yeah.
and then I'm going.
Yeah.
There wasn't nothing going to hold me back.
I was ready to park on the Beltway, to be honest.
Oh,
with
me
my
too. Me too.
with my SUV. I was just gonna park it, and I tell my dad, bail me out. Actually, not my dad. I said I may be in jail. I don't know, and my car may be impounded. I don't know. I said I don't care. I'll get it out. And I had a contact. I was like, I'm calling you if I'm going to jail. So I actually, I'm serious. I'm serious. I had someone that I memorized the phone number that I'm gonna call, and I said, if you're gonna get in the middle of the night or whatever, I said a strange number or a private number, I'm going to the DC. Remember, it can be me, you know. And he was like, okay. And I said, you have to come bail me out. And he was like, fine. Even if I was gonna get a bail, I don't know. I said, if I'm not, then I'm sitting there, you know. But I don't have kids, and I don't really have much to lose, you know. I don't have a family. And so to me, it was easy to make that decision that, yes, I will go and do this because this is going to be significant and this is going to be history, you know. And if we were speaking about the DC, we didn't even have to go to the DC to be treated like a political prisoners later on. We could have just done it on the Beltway, you know. So,
Yeah, I had packed my truck with at least 3 months worth of food.
yeah.
I had freezer stuffed full, and
Yeah.
throughout the whole convoy, I couldn't have. I could have made my own food, but there was people that would bring food, and I was
Oh, yeah.
like, as long as somebody So as long as I have another, like, if they didn't bring food, I'd go buy food. So I'm like, all
Yeah,
the food that's in here, in case I need it, it's going to last me as long as possible.
yeah,
And
yeah,
turns
yeah,
out I didn't need any of it.
yeah,
That was disappointing because I was prepared to go to jail too. I had people asking me, "How long are you gonna stick this out? How far are you gonna go?" I said, "I got people that are gonna take care of my kids if I go to jail.
yeah,
That's the way it's gonna go."
yeah,
Because I was done. I'm still done. And if there was one going across the country, I'd freaking hightail it out there and do it again.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
and
I would too.
this time, if I saw that it was sort of sitting there like we did in Hagerstown after about a day, I'd grab a bunch of people and say, "Okay, we're done. We're taking this thing over. We're going in. I don't care. We're
Hmm.
not sitting around letting it peter out again." But I
Yeah,
had faith in people, and
yeah.
you know,
Well, I had a little bit of an excitement with 1776 because I went on a little adventure blocking highway with them.
oh yeah,
As a camera, as a press, actually, I was gonna use my press pass and tell them I just got stuck in here.
you're just here to cover it, right?
I was just driving and I'm stuck in the middle. They don't want to let me out, so I decided to go with my camera.
Oh, did you
But
see what we did in? Go ahead.
yeah, but it was that one particular event that I will give it to them, that I was waiting for it and I got it, because the highway that we took, they blocked. Well, they left like the emergency line on a highway. They left that, and like all major highways to get to the DC were blocked. It was only for half an hour, but it was like kind of feeling out how we're gonna do it. There was not also really that many people, maybe 50 vehicles, let's say, all together. And we did a small highway that was only 2 lanes, and we actually blocked it in a construction zone. And people were taken off. uh, it was funny because I was like, let's just block it all together and not leave any space or anything. And then I'm thinking, well, you kind of have to have a space for the emergency vehicle, right, to go through. But I said, well, there's only like maybe 10 vehicles that were going. We can make space for emergency vehicle to go. But they say, well, don't block it. There was like a special lane that they like really took for the construction vehicles. It was like blocked off, but you could have taken it and avoid us. So the whole highway, tried to take that, separate lane there that they were not supposed to, and it's illegal to actually take that lane for the construction vehicles. And of course, the police came, but we did it for like a half an hour, and I was like, I finally blocked something months later. I was like, yes. When are we doing
A
it
feeling,
again? I'm ready.
a feeling of accomplishment. That's kind of like, I don't know if you saw what we did in Sacramento. Sacramento. Did you get to see that?
And I don't remember. What was it?
So we were there at that rally there when they were voting on whether or not to kill babies after they're born, take the abortion
Oh
past
yeah,
the part
okay.
of birth,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they were voting, and like it got to the point where the voting was looking like it was going to pass. And it was only
Yeah.
going to be committee, but it's going to pass. And we got the news, and suddenly one of the truckers just did a U-turn, and we
Hmm.
all freaking did a U-turn and went straight into the Capitol, parked right in front of where the parking garage was, shut the
Hmm.
trucks off, all 4 or 5 wide on the highway, opened the hoods up, said, "Okay, we're done."
Hmm.
Cops come over there. Your truck? Well, what's the matter? Well, that truck broke down. Can't fix it.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was something I
Yeah.
wanted to do in DC, but it had to be Sacramento.
That's fine. I mean, at least it was on American soil,
Yeah.
so you can be
Well,
treated
that's
like an
questionable.
American.
That's questionable, though. You know, California being American soil, not for
Oh,
long.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I was watching news or something, and it said that California is ahead of a whole America with their laws that are like this whole electric bullshit that they're trying to push on you, the panels, this and that. That they're 10 years ahead of the rest of the states, and I'm just like, okay. So is that in 30 years are we going to have trucks that are going to be electric? Like all the trucks that are fixing your electric, not running on electric. They're running on the gas or diesel,
Yeah.
whatever you
Uh,
call it.
well,
You're screwed with that one.
California is like the leading state of regulations. So like if like I call California the federal government's bullies
Yeah.
or their henchmen. Whatever the federal government would like, you can see it come in through California. And then like with the after treatment stuff that's on our trucks, the emission systems, those came from California. California put that in law, and we're all like, well, fine, we just won't go to California. We just won't pick anything up, deliver nothing. Then the federal government stepped in and said, wow, we're going to make it
Mhm.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Because suddenly California was going to go down the drain because no trucks were going to go there. And there's, well, we're just going to make it everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's how crap happens. I was trying to see if there's questions on Rumble, but it stayed on the same comment for a long time, and then turns out it froze. So now I got to go all the ways up to um see if it gave me anything here.
And do you have people commenting on Rumble? I have like, I don't know, 700 people only in Rumble, and nothing is ever
How
going
about
on
we get
Rumble.
how about we get her up over 1,000? Come on, people. Now, it's because I've been pushing my Rumble since day one. Like my Rumble
Okay.
was where I started off with,
All
and then
right.
I went and did YuckTube as a way to get people to go to Rumble.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, on my Rumble is Polish Agnes together.
Here, let
I
me put
don't
that up
like
here.
Rumble too much. It drives me crazy. I can't
Well,
like I can't move the video where I want to. It's not letting me play it in the background.
well, actually, they
Come on.
changed that. I was told that
Yeah.
you can now uh uh back up on the video. You know how on the chat used to be when you tried to scroll up on the chat, as soon as somebody else commented, it popped right back to the bottom. They now
Yeah.
have a scroll bar there where you can actually scroll up without bothering.
Yeah.
So they're getting it better.
Yeah.
Um, next, my big thing is I want mods, but I've had some people spamming the chat before for a while, and after emailing Rumble quite a bit and basically nuking my account on Rumble, they went in there and removed those people. So
Yeah.
you see. You lovely said, I recall seeing a horrific video of Venezuelans swarming a lone cow in a field and ripping it apart for food.
Hmm.
You can only vote for socialism once. That's right, because after that, it's over. Imagine being that hungry, guys. Imagine being that hungry. Let's see, I guess I gotta go up further. 'Cause I'm seeing the same thing.
Oh wow, you have over 2,000 in Rumble. Nice.
Yeah, I was at like 21, I think. I was ahead of my YuckTube for the longest time until this last week. It passed it. I about cried.
Yeah. I wish I knew how to like really run my channel so I would get all these subscribers so I could even like spread the word about what we're doing here even more. But we're all
I'm,
sharing the same subscribers, you know? It's
I
not
know.
really,
I'm thinking about doing ads.
yeah.
Um, I don't know how to do ads, but I'm thinking about doing that just to see if I can boost it a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to me, it's one way to do it. Pay for ads on YouTube to promote for Rumble or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But slowly, I'm seeing new people hopping into Rumble that I don't recognize the names. So it's kind of getting out there. But
Mm-hmm.
you're right.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need the same circle. We just need
Yeah,
to get
exactly.
a further reach.
That's the thing.
Um, that's why everybody needs to take the content and share it everywhere
Yes. Yeah,
because
I agree.
that's where we need your help. That's where you can contribute is share it everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, because I want to see Agnes get up to where she has, a lot more on Rumble. But you
Yeah,
know,
I usually stream to both the same at the same time. So whatever you find on YouTube, you can always find on Rumble, and actually Rumble more because when I just got that strike, it was for the misinformation on the election because we think differently than YouTube does. So they took the video down and they gave me a strike. I just actually literally got out from two strikes I had before. And they expired in August, and then September I got another one.
being
So
bad,
literally,
huh?
I almost lost a channel.
Yeah.
Practically speaking.
Well,
So
they
that's
tried to
why I
take
have.
down. They
Yeah,
tried to take down two of my videos so far, and I appealed them. And for me, what's funny about because some people are like, "Well, it's not worth appealing them." It's always worth appealing them. They
I
they put
did.
them back.
I did.
And think about it this way: me appealing them, if I understand their system right, is if it gets reported, the algorithm sometimes picks it up, their AI or whatever, and it kicks it out based on what the AI sees and hears. But if you appeal it, it makes
Mhm.
one of those liberals within that YuckTube organization actually have to watch the video.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when I appealed the one, actually both of them, I was sitting back like the one was like 2 hours long. I was sitting back there laughing my ass off because I'm like, these guys are gonna have to watch it now. They said they could never taken it down,
Yeah. Well, it was
and they
about
put
the
it back up.
elections. Yeah, with me, and they did that for me for the Trump rally as well. Trump only talks mostly about the elections. And
Yeah,
so I went to the New York rally on the Canadian border on the bridge. And, I was kind of in the wrong place in my own thoughts. So I have not listened a single thing that they were talking on the stage because I was just thinking whatever I was going through, and I just didn't completely know, what's going on, and I didn't react to it because most of the time when you put it on private, you can get away with it. But YouTube told me it's the going against the community guidelines and stuff like that, so they're giving me a strike 7 days ban. So
actually,
that happened
most
on Friday.
actually, I'm guessing for the majority of the reason, like they might have used that whole election thing,
Yeah.
but there's people getting kicked off simply for having Trump on. Like there
Oh,
was a
yeah.
guy that had 4 million followers,
Yeah.
no strikes or nothing, did an interview with Trump and got removed from YouTube,
Yeah.
and now he's going to Rumble.
Yeah.
So just because it was Trump, like how
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. It is
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. You get so offended. You get one person on there. You don't have to agree with them, but he
Yeah.
still has the right to speak freely, just like me and you, and just like the little, the little butthurt liberal
Yeah.
has the right to speak too.
Yeah.
Um, eh, yeah, it's irritating. We're
Yeah.
gonna
I
turn
think
off.
people
We're gonna
people
turn
don't
off
really.
YouTube and go to Rumble. So everybody go to Rumble because YouTube's session is over for today, and we're probably gonna be talking more about election stuff that we can talk about over there and not get in trouble. So why don't you guys
Yes.
sign up and follow me over on Rumble
Yeah. Yeah.
and follow Polish Agnes on Rumble. So we'll see
Yeah.
you guys over at Rumble.
Polish Agnes together on Rumble. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I am actually starting to think that just to do these panels only on Rumble, if I was going to talk about something sensitive, and just never put it on YouTube, and just do like
Yeah.
the bullshit type of thing on YouTube. Stream all the rallies and all that because that's where the people are mostly coming. You know, for into the YouTube, to see what you're all about. But like the real talk is going on Rumble. It is. And now I've learned how to really stream with like this extra other software to Rumble, and it's easy for me to do it. And if we weren't off, YouTube right now and just to Rumble, we could have just talked about so much more.